What's going on, all? This is Alex again. I'm going to do another Axe Effects tutorial. This one's going to be about the chorus module. So let's jump right in. So as you can see, got a chorus already kind of pulled up here and a couple of notes on the side. These are some I already filled in, pretty much everything you might need to know just right off the bat, so you don't have to go and look things up. But I'll be going over a couple of these types of choruses, and we'll just see how they sound and see how we can change things up as we go along. So right now it's set up for a triangle chorus, but we can do any of these if we want. And so let's start off with 4-voice analog. Now what it means by 4-voice is that you're going to have a pot, it's going to set this little knob up here to 4. And you can adjust these as you will. This is the only difference between any of the 4-voice and 8-voice analogs. So you go here and 8 logs, and then you go here, 4. Delay time's a little bit different, but you could change the 4 to 8 and change the delay time, and you can have either of them do the same thing. So that's really the main difference. The 8-voice stereo is you're gonna have a stereo spread. Imagine that. So you can go to tone, see that there's not much of a difference in this either, except stereo has a higher cut of 20,000 hertz, so 20 kilohertz. That's the main difference. So going from 4-voice, go back to basic. It's set to sine right now. You can change any of these and it's going to completely alter any of these. These are basically just starting points for anything you really want to do. So if you really want to use a 4-voice analog, you can do that, and you can go to change it up to a log. So actually I'm going to go and describe what these rates do, what the tempo is. Rate and tempo are basically two things that you can use. If you use the tempo, it disables the rate, and so on. So the rate right here, I kind of got it set over here, is how many times per second the oscillation repeats. And basically what I mean by oscillation is when it talks about the LFO right here, which is a low frequency oscillator, it's talking about these little shapes right here. This kind of looks like a maybe a serrated knife. That's what astable is. That's what an astable signal looks like. And so this is what it's going to kind of sound like when it gets mixed with your signal. It's not going to be quite, super symmetrical. It's not going to be, it's going to have a little bit of rigidness to it. So when it has the oscillations, let's hear it. You see how it kind of peaks out and then kind of quickly starts to dive into a kind of a downward slope. And then you can see how that differs from an exponential. That's what EXP means. Now you should be hearing more valleys, but you should hear a quick peak from those quick notches on the top, those mountain peaks. You see how it kind of go wow wow, like it kind of does that. Has a pretty quick comeback from the peak, so it doesn't stay in high very much. Log is the opposite. So you'll hear a lot more highs, and then you'll have low, like a quick dip into the valleys. Sounds pretty nice. Random is exactly what it sounds like. And you're basically going to hear jumps at random places, and they're going to maybe be a little bit off. You're not going to really be able to tell what they're going to be. Let's increase that to like 2 because we'll hear more randomness that way. Let's go up to 10. Actually, you're not going to hear much that way, huh? 10 times per second would be hard to hear. Actually, you can't hear much that way either. Let's do 2.5. It's really easy to tell right there, huh? That's what the random does, though. Saw down, you're gonna hear it's gonna go up or kind of come down, and then quickly from down to up, and you're going to hear that kind of like a non-continuous sound. Let's go back down to like 1.25. Hear it a little bit more accurately. Saw up, same thing but opposite. Sine, this is, an ideal oscillator, so it's going to sound pretty creamy. This is one that a lot of people use. That one always sounds pretty good. Square, this one, you're going to hear this one's going to drop off and go down, go up. It's pretty identifiable. Trapezoid, it's kind of a mix between a square and a triangle. Let's try to drop that down to 0.899. It's like wow. It's pretty identifiable as well. Triangle is a good mix between the sine. It's like a jagged sine, but it still sounds nice. It's a linear going up and down, but it never stops, really. There's no discontinuities. And if you look at the triangle, guess what? There's a triangle chorus right here, and there's not much difference. That's why I'm saying these can all be adjusted to basically be the same thing if you know what you're doing in here. So you can kind of make your own choruses up. And some of these don't even use all these LFOs. So that's why it's important to know what each of these individual pieces do, so that you may adjust and modify any of these effects to exactly what you want to do. I'll just go back. I'll just keep it a triangle just because we can. So, tempo. I guess we just might as well get into here. So this is basically determining how the speed of which you're going to be oscillating. So 164, as I said, you're going to get rid of the rate, but you're going to have a 1/64th note as your oscillator. You keep on going down, you go down to 1/2, it's going to be a little bit quicker. It just changes what this is. Now if you want to change this up, 1.64. It's just depending on what you want. So you can, if you're really into messing around with that, you can do that. If you like messing around with knowing how often you're going to be, oscillating, if you can kind of determine that by time and divide it by 60, that's fine. You can do either one. They both accomplish the same thing, just in a different way. So, depth. We can go look over here. I wrote down how tall the LFO portion is or how deep the valleys are. And what I'm talking about is, if you go to sine wave, the valley right here is how deep is it going to be. Like if you listen right now, if you notice how it's on low auto depth, so if we went to off, now the depth is 50% by default. But if we go to 25%, it's pretty, the lower we get, the more approaching low auto depth we're going to be. So if we go to 5%, it's going to be a pretty shallow. But if we go all the way up to 100, you're going to hear it go, whoa, it's going to be kind of wonky sounding, kind of haunted. Hear that? That's the purpose of the auto depth. If you put auto depth on, it kind of disables the depth over here. If we put auto depth high, you're going to hear it approaching closer to what the depth at 100% would be. If you go off, that's what that does. That's the purpose of that. If we leave that on auto low, it's pretty good. It sounds nice. So delay time, that's so how chorus works is there is some of your guitar that goes in and some of it that gets fed back in through with a delay, and then it kind of multiplies that signal by another oscillator, which is these LFOs. So if you look over here at let's see, like a dual chorus, right? You got one LFO over here, and you got another LFO, and you can change the type. Let's see, another one. So yeah, we have an LFO right here, LFO rate. You can do a sync if you want to, or you can change it up. But either way, the LFO is going to be multiplied into your signal. And so that's what that's going to be doing. And that the number of voices is going to determine how many different, for in this instance, sine waves are going along with your signal. So if you go up to 8, well, let's see, if you go triangle chorus and we want to do 6 voices, and perhaps we want to have a I kind of like the triangle, so let's just keep it with that. And we'll do, I guess, okay, so they don't let you do more than 2 voices for a triangle. Unfortunate, but understandable. It's a lot of processing. So 6 voices. It's going to give it way more body. The more voices, the more body you're going to end up getting. And then the width is how wide or how distant the valleys are from each other. So you can kind of imagine that the further the width is going to be, the longer it's going to take for it to go between oscillations. It also reduces the depth. So that's kind of the trade-off. So not everything is going to end. And also the LFO2 depth, you can change that up as well. And then you can also change the rate at which the second LFO works. See, if I do 1.25, and then this one you do 0.627 or 625, I guess, which is half of the rate over here. You do the depth at 50. Actually, let's do 25. And then that way, they're kind of, but one's working at double, one's working at... You can do a lot of interesting things with these. And then tones, you can do low cuts and high cuts. If you increase this up, you're going to be cutting lows. Drop this back in, you get more lows. You drop this down, you get less highs. You bring this up, you get more highs. And then the drive is pretty common. You know what drive is. It's pretty easy to know what that is. And then finally, if we go to this one right here, this dimension 1 through 3, dimension 1 and 2 are the same. Like, there's no differences whatsoever. Not even a single one. Not entirely sure if that's a bug or not, to be honest. But dimension 3, all that changes is going from dimension mode high. So, I mean, I imagine what's intended to be here is dimension 1 was supposed to be low, and then dimension 2 medium and so forth. And what this really does is it adds space. It gives you that spacey feel to your chorus effect. So you don't have to do as much reverb or maybe so much delay or some extra processing like multiplexers and whatnot. So there's 3 types of choruses in here that are actually different from all the others. And those are the dual chorus, the Japan CE2, and the stereo tri-chorus. And the reason why they're different is because the menu here is literally the ones that don't have any, like some of the button layouts are much different than all of the other ones. So these 3 right here are ones to pay attention to specifically. So the dual chorus, what it does is it takes your left and your right stereo, and you can change the rates or tempos of each, the depth and the time, like the ratios is compared to the delay time over here, and then the master depth and whatnot. So both of them will get the same LFO. The depth will be shared among both, and then the ratio can be shared among both as well, depending. So if you have a 100% time ratio of 7.5 milliseconds, well, this one's going to be 7.5 milliseconds as well. And then you can change the rate. So that's the main difference. So let's say I want 2.5 seconds on here and I want 1.25. That means this one's the right one is going half as fast as the left one. We're going to have the depth going to be the same. We're going to have 20 milliseconds, and then we're going to have 75% of the ratio of the left on the right. So this one's going to be going at 15 milliseconds. The master depth, we're going to set that to 25, and then I like triangles, so let's give that a whack. Sounds nice. So that's the thing about dual chorus. It is a stereo chorus where you can adjust the rates at which each speaker receives its respective signal. The Japan CE2, we're getting a little bit of lag here. This one's a little bit different too, mostly because, well, I guess there's not really much difference, to be honest. So if you look here, Japan CE2 isn't actually that much different. My bad, I lied to you initially. But the Studio Tri-Chorus is different. And the reason why it's different is because you can adjust the depths at different parts of your, it's basically, you're creating the LFO. So if you do like a depth of, I don't know, per se 12.5, and then you do a center depth of 75, and then this one is going to be, I don't know, let's say 25. You can imagine it's going to be like this, way up, and then you're going to come up a little bit more, so that it's going to, you're shaping it. So if you were a 0 and then you did 100 and then a 0, that's kind of like a triangle. It's like doof, doof, doof. And it sounds like a triangle too. Imagine that. That is the point. So, and if you did 50, 150, that's kind of like a square wave, except it's going to be, actually, that one did not sound like a square wave. I lied. Oh, because it's a tri. You can't make a square wave with a tri, you know. That's why. But yeah, either way, that's the point of it. You're changing the way it looks. That's why you're doing. And that's really it. Let's go on about the next part. That's pretty much it. Chorus isn't a terribly difficult, effect to understand. Just know that what you're doing is you're taking part of your signal, looping it into itself with a little bit of delay, and then mixing it with this oscillator in order to get yourself that kind of, oscillating kind of tone to your signal. So I hope it helps you out. I hope now you know a little bit more. Oh, actually, you know what? I missed something. So phase reverse. You can change basically what side, like if you have a left and right speaker, you can change if one of them is going to be off phase from the other one. So it's going to sound a little bit different. Like you'll have one side kind of oscillating like this, and maybe this one's oscillating from the bottom. So you'll have them kind of going like this. It's just going to change the way it overall sounds. I'm not entirely, actually, let me just see if I can get that. Maybe if you're listening on headphones, you'll be able to tell the difference. Let's go to left. That's that. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any other questions, just let me know, and I'll try to get them answered to you. So, take care, y'all.